your host, Carol Wayne, known to many as the Queen of Reinvention. Mr. Mike Koenigs, welcome.
Thank you very much, Carol. It's nice to be here.
Great, thank you. Now let me tell everyone about you, because you are a #1 best-selling author. You're 2009 Marketer of the Year winner. You're an entrepreneur, a filmmaker, a speaker, and you hold a patent in cross-channel marketing technology.
Sounds pretty fancy, doesn't it? Yeah.
It sure does. You are the CEO and Chief Disruptasaurus and founder of Traffic Geyser and Instant Customer, two softwares that I use. And your products simplify marketing for tens of thousands of small businesses, authors, experts, speakers, coaches, and consultants worldwide. You are the author of a bunch of books. And your celebrity and best-selling author clients and friends include Paula Abdul, Tony Robbins, Debbie Ford, John Assaraf from The Secret, Brian Tracy, Jorge Cruise, Dan Kennedy, and Harvey MacKay.
Yep.
Ooh, we got music.
Sorry
happening.
about that. That wasn't supposed to happen, but sorry.
It was well timed.
Oh, that was great. Yeah.
So, Mike, how and when did you discover your calling to help people to reinvent as an author expert?
Well, you know, when I moved to San Diego, prior to getting in the business I'm in, I started programming when I was a young kid, and I started consulting and helping small business owners basically with their, using computers in their businesses. And this is back when PCs were just showing up, and secretaries didn't know how to use computers. I mean, they were using typewriters at the time, or maybe primitive word processors. So I went in and taught them how to use word processing and spreadsheets and databases and all that sort of thing, and got introduced into the idea in the world of marketing, and I started a marketing agency that was called Digital Cafe, sold that, moved out to San Diego, and this is about 12 years ago now, and one of the first people I met was a woman named Arielle Ford, who had represented, at the time, 11 #1 New York Times best-selling authors, and this is back when the only way to become a #1 New York Times best-selling author was going out and doing book tours and satellite tours and radio tours and pounding the pavement literally to sell their books. And one of the first information products I ever created was a product called Everything You Should Know About Publicity, Publishing, Promotion, and Building a Platform. And that product went on. We sold it for almost 9 years together until we sold it this last year when as you know, I had cancer this past year. So what wound up happening is I really got connected to the speaker author space, and I saw what kind of transformation occurred in other people's lives when they wrote books and they got published, and they started to build what we call their platform, which is who knows them, your connections with the media, how big your database or your list size is, your ability to create products and sell them. It's your reach, it's your connectedness, and ultimately the kind of impact that that would have on someone's life. So as time went on, interestingly, my wife had written and been published a couple of times, written a couple books. She had worked with some big authors, including one of her clients was Deepak Chopra. So just a combination of the Arielle connection, my wife's connections, and also this interest in creating information products opened and expanded my world. And I started teaching people how to create programs and products online and get known, but I hadn't written a book of my own. So when I contracted cancer this past year, I sat down and I decided I would write a book as quickly as possible and tell the story about how I was doing it, and it became a #1 bestseller very rapidly. And from there, I was like, let me show as many people as possible the same path, because I'd been in the business so long, and I was like the shoemaker's child. I didn't have my own book. I didn't have my own best-selling book. And from there, even while I did have cancer, I ended up writing and publishing 3 books in less than a year, using the exact same strategies and techniques that you've used, and I've taught now to literally thousands of people worldwide.
That's great. Now, what specific transformation and what specific outcomes does your process I mean, I know what it does, but,
Mm-hmm.
but you can tell everyone else. What can
Sure.
they expect when they use your system?
Sure. Well, I think the biggest thing is what we target and focus on is what we call the 5 Ps. Okay, so in order to be seen as an expert and an authority in any industry or niche and be able to leverage yourself, you need to understand the concept, first of all, of what platform is, which again is your brand, it's your visibility, it's your knowledge and know-how, it's who knows you, it's your connections, your contacts, your list, your ability to get attention and create buzz. And it's really ultimately your currency, meaning you could lose everything you have, your money, your house, but if you just have a platform, which is people knowing who you are and what you stand for, no bank or economy can take it away from you, but you can literally reinvent yourself in 90 days to a half a year and probably earn back more than you lost. So this ultimately for you means being able to go out and sell your products and services and get premium prices, becoming recession and competition proof, and being able to attract and have celebrity and affluent clients and customers and continue to be out there. So the bottom line is there are basically 5 steps in the process, and the first one is to position yourself as that expert and that authority. So it's really discovering what your gift is, what your experience and expertise is, and being able to tell a story about that. Next is being able to publish some content, and that could mean just creating a video and putting it online, or doing what you're doing right now with Google Hangout and doing a summit. It could mean publishing a book, and these days, of course, it's so cheap and easy to do because Amazon lets you do it for free with their Create Space program. And then ideally turning your knowledge into a product, kind of what you've done here. You're taking these recordings and you're making them available and charging money, and then extending that reach, something that other people can do as well. Learning how to promote yourself and get seen and build that list, and ultimately being able to profit from all of this work. And that cycle can be repeated over and over and over again. So again, over the course of the past, in my case, about a decade, that's really when I started creating information products and selling them online. I didn't have the 5 Ps when I got started, and after observing and working with literally now tens of thousands of clients and customers worldwide, and I believe my message and my videos have reached millions of people at this stage in the game, I noticed a pattern. And I thought, well, I'm going to see if I can boil this down into the simplest number of steps that are easy to understand, easy to remember, easy to implement, that produce massive results. And what we were able to see, I don't know what it was like for you specifically, but what we found is that a very significant percentage of people who started using our system wrote books, published them, and became top 10 bestseller authors, most of them within 90 days. And obviously you were on the stage receiving an award, so you clearly had pulled this off. But like for you, how long did it take you from the time you made a commitment to do it until your book was done and published?
Well, it was interesting because I had started writing my book before I had even found you. Mm-hmm. And I wrote my first book the old-fashioned way. That was my guerrilla tourism marketing book, which I wrote with J. Conrad Levinson.
Yes.
So it was a while.
Yep.
And I would not recommend writing that way again.
No. Yep.
But then I wrote the second book just before I came to your event, mm-hmm. and I wrote that with co-authors in 1 week.
Yep.
So there's the traditional way of doing it, which takes forever, which I'm not recommending, unless you're writing something for a university or something.
Right.
But for the purposes that we experts or specialists need, you can write your book quickly. You've got all the information in your head. You've probably got tons of information and materials all over the place from all your presentations and other writings that you've done, And it's very easy to write a book very quickly. And then from there, your system certainly helped me to get it published, and then the marketing component of it was fantastic. So yeah. Highly recommend it.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, again, that's something that, again, we just had a record number of people implement and get results, and since then it's meant for them that they've been able to go out, get speaking opportunities, again, sell their products, because if someone sits down and they read your book and they get to know who you are, what you're about, what your value system is, how you're impacting other people's lives, and from there they come to you pre-qualified and ready to buy. They're ready to invest not only in you but in your products and your services. And so I think that's really the most important thing is again, this doesn't mean writing a book. Okay, there's a lot of ways to publish content these days. It turns out it is so easy and cheap to do it now, and one of the things that we're teaching people how to do is literally do something like you're doing right now. You could literally take an interview like this, that we've done them in as little as 90 minutes, go through and answer 21 questions, and basically perform your book live. So you're teaching an audience, and then you can transcribe it and edit it into a format and a formula, and ultimately publish it. And we did that not long ago, and wrote and published and became a top 10 bestseller in 4 categories in 7 countries in 17 days. Okay, and within 48 hours, we sold over 2,000 copies of that book. So, you know, this is something that's very, very attainable and reachable for anyone these days. And again, I really, really recommend that you know, you get an idea of how to make this work in your own business. And there isn't a niche, there isn't a business that this cannot benefit. And it doesn't matter if you're a nonprofit, if you're a healthcare practitioner, a financial manager, if you're, you know, doing charitable work or nonprofit work like my wife does, or, you know, again, name it. There isn't a topic, there isn't a business type where this will not positively affect your business.
Exactly. So I just wanted to let you know that the day that I did my promotion and I knocked Howard Schultz out of the spot.
I remember seeing that. Yes.
Yeah.
It's very
that
impressive.
was a great day. Yeah.
Yes. And then there's nothing better than having, you know, that screen capture where you can show that off and say, well, look at what I did. You know, it's a beautiful thing. And that's the other thing is when you're able to take that both to the media and to let's say in so many ways, you can take it to radio, you can take it to television, and that's the kind of thing that gets you on the air. Mm-hmm. And it's a very, very powerful thing. And so I actually have, like you, I'm sure we've got screenshots of some of our best sellers and how we've been able to manage and attain this. And it's very powerful marketing when you walk in and you get introduced by someone in a business environment and they say, well, I'd like to introduce you to Carol Wayne, who's the #1 best-selling author of. Okay? That's a point of differentiation, and people are going to pay attention to that. They're going to remember that.
Absolutely, and because I'm Canadian, I hit #1 in 3 categories with that book. Yeah, yeah. So, yes. So, have you found any particular motivators that make people want to become author experts?
Well, I'm going to say yes for sure, and I would say in my experience, first of all, if this is the question that I ask people is #1, if you're wondering why you are not earning 2 to 5 times more than you are right now, or if you're in a business that it seems like you're suffering both either from recession or competition or both, or you feel like you're stuck selling your knowledge or selling your time instead of your knowledge and you're undervalued for that, maybe if you don't have continuity income coming in other words, it seems like you have to work for every dollar that you earn, or if you're working with, basically, let's face it, bad customers, and you'd like to access celebrity or affluent customers, bottom line, people with money, if any of those sound like points of frustration, well, then that's a good reason to listen up and say, yes, this is something that would matter in my life. And ultimately, when you're starting out, we all begin this way. So when we begin, nobody knows who you are, what you do, who you do it for, and they don't even care, okay? They'd like to care. It doesn't mean you're not valuable and a great person, but you're just one of millions of people who are not properly positioned. So if you want to stand out in a crowd and be unique and be different, then, you know, as I would say, you need to have a book that you can say, here's my calling card, and instead of handing out a business card, you hand out a book. Who do you think they're going to remember? Okay, everyone walks away with a stack of business cards this high, but if you get a book from someone and inside's a little handwritten message with your phone number or with your email address or website, guess who they're going to call? Especially if it's like 10 cards where, you know, let's say you're a financial manager or you're a healthcare practitioner or whatever it is. You've got 10 cards from, you know, financial managers, and then there's one with a book with a personal message. Who's going to get the call? Okay, it's easy. And what's it cost? This is $2. Okay, Amazon lets you buy one, or you can buy 10,000 of them. It's the same price, and they'll deliver them to you and print them off. You don't have to think about a thing. So, you know, what I've found is handing those out, and I know you have as well, is this is what grabs people's attention, and they're like, oh my God, you're not. How did you do it? Tell, you know, they want to know all about it, and they're going to be interested in you.
I was on the way back from your event, and I met a woman on a plane, and I was telling her where I had been and what I was doing, and that I was an author and a best-selling author, and I just won an award, and that it was also part of your panel discussion.
Yes.
And so that was way back when, and she and I have kept in touch, and actually next week I'm headed over to Vancouver. I live on Vancouver Island. Headed over to Vancouver next week to meet up with her because she's coming up from LA to do other business but wants to meet with me so that I can help her. That is the power of having a book.
Yep. Again, they're already convinced they want to work with you. And I had that happen recently. I'll give you a couple examples, which is whenever I speak, depending on the type of event, if I'm at an event where I'm a paid speaker, for example, I'm going to make sure that I've got, you know, I go ahead and I pre-order a box of books from Amazon and have them delivered to the hotel, and I hand them out to all the people who are there. And again, there's depending on the type of event, there's all sorts of varieties. But at one of these events, I was able to give away, in my case, I had 3 books. We gave away all 3 in a bag that went out to all of the people. And every single person in the room had spent a minimum of $10,000 for the ticket. Most of them had $1,000. So this would be considered a highly qualified, highly motivated audience that in addition to that, they spent thousands of dollars to be in a hotel in downtown New York City in Manhattan, so that was a bigger investment still, and be away from their businesses and their families. And so that, again, is an even bigger investment. So what happened next is I had one of the people who I met in person, and I kind of gave him a soft pitch. He's a celebrity. I can actually talk about him now. It's Kevin Harrington, who is on Shark Tank, and he's actually going to be speaking at our next event as our headline speaker. But before that, I was just a person in the room. Okay, and I could tell he's being nice, but he's just giving me lip service, and he's like, I'm going to get out of here. And I kind of gave him a basic pitch, and I said, I know how to help you grow your platform in your business. And again, he's used to all kinds of people, all sorts of people just walking up to him, giving him that. So here's what happened. Turned out on the flight back, he flew from New York to San Francisco, and he read one of my books on the flight. He calls up the guy who is leading this particular event I was at, and he called him up and he says, this Mike Koenigs guy, he's got some really interesting stuff. Do you think I should be talking to him? And it turned out I had told this guy that I approached Kevin, and he pretty much kind of blew me off. And he says, yeah, you jerk. He actually walked up to you and talked to you, and you didn't give him any. He goes, oh my God, it's that guy. So he immediately contacted me directly and said, we got to talk. I've got some big ideas. And one thing led to another. Right now, we're talking about doing a pretty big business deal, and we're talking, six-figure and above type of deal, and it could turn into a seven-figure deal fairly quickly. He's got he's got some new TV programming that he's working on. I'll say that he's one of the biggest infomercial producers, actually the biggest in the world, and we're talking about doing a deal, and he's speaking at my live event. Okay, but that came because of the book. Same thing happened at the same event. A guy walks up to me and he's badgering me, and is a very, very successful corporate consultant. He works with Fortune 50 corporations, so big ones, and he badgered me. He's like, I have got to take you out for dinner tonight. I don't care what you want. Let's go out right now. I want you to work with me. Okay, and the kind of deals, I charge between $15,000 and $25,000 a day for my consulting time in the rare instances that I work with someone. I only do a couple a year. So, it's my books that are getting me these big deals, because people look at them, they read through it, and they're like, that's exactly what I want and I need in my business. Okay, and anyone can do this. This is not rocket science, and you don't have to be a writer or an author, because there's people who will do all the busy work. All you have to do is be an expert. So I know I really went down a tangent there answering that question, but again, I think hearing about the opportunities it wasn't long ago. I was just some guy from a little bitty town in south central Minnesota with nothing special. I barely passed high school. Okay, I am not special, but I've been able to acquire some skills and some knowledge that are very, very valuable to a lot of people, and I've been given the gift of building a platform so people do listen to me and they want what I have to give or share, and their lives have clearly been impacted because of it. And again, you can do this too. This isn't about me, it's about you.
Right. And I think that's important, because a lot of times we say, well, we've done it, but the point is that you trained me and thousands of other people to do that too.
Yeah.
So it is absolutely a system that works. And I said this wasn't going to be a pitch fest, but you can tell how much your product really.
Hey, look, if it works, it works, right? I think we have a duty to each other and to support other people who want this, and it doesn't have to feel like a yucky sell-a-thon. This is, hopefully, I hope they're getting enough information and valuable ideas and maybe getting their brain rearranged here. This is powerful stuff once you get your head around it. And look, I worked in this business for years before I understood that unbelievably powerful word platform and what it means. It's your ability to stand above. A platform is like a stage that a performer's on. So you can be in front of an audience. There can be an audience of 50,000 people who are all 50,000 looking at, okay? The lead on the stage. That's the platform, okay? If you want to be the first one to get priority access, to be the celebrated, obvious expert, then understanding that that is an attainable goal when you follow some very simple principles that are repeatable. It's been done over and over again. We've heard all the stories. It's just like, it's hard sometimes to make a connection and say, that could be me too, and what do I need to do? And it's 80% psychology, it's 20% doing, and that is the reality.
So what would you say some of the pitfalls are? What are some of the things to avoid when you're deciding to go for a platform and to become an author and to use this form of marketing to position yourself way above everyone else?
Right. Well, I think the number one thing is I often hear someone saying, yeah, I've been writing a book for blah, 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 blah. It'll be like 6 months or a year or 2 years, and it's almost done. It's like, are you kidding me? Okay. First of all, sit down, write down the top 21 questions that are your unique experience and knowledge base, and have someone interview it, record it, and pass it along to an editor. There's your book, okay? It's finished, okay? This spending a bunch of time on it, nonsense is what I say. So I think the pitfall is so many people get focused on irrelevant minutia. And the way I've described this for many, many years is I have a very good friend. He is an incredible television editor. He edits videos. And for years he was trying to produce, and he's always struggling with money. And one time I sat down with him and I said, I know exactly why you can't break out. And if you're willing to let me coach you, I'm going to tell you exactly what it is and how to get to the next step. Okay? And he says, all right. I said, and some of it you won't like. And I said, the problem is you're engineering for engineers. And he goes, what do you mean by that? And I said, you are paying attention to something that is a dot on the screen about it being perfect, and you're like focused maybe on the pumpkin behind the lead actor and whether or not the pumpkin looks right, and nobody except another engineer just like you cares about that. They care about the character and the story and the big picture. And you'll spend 5 hours on a dot on the screen, and instead if you invested that same time in telling the story more effectively, you're going to connect with, instead of like 10 engineers who are watching your videos, you're going to connect with 1 million people watching your show on television. So it's about what you focus on. Most newbies, most failures focus on the doing because it's safe, okay? But they miss the big picture. And the big picture is, who are you speaking to? Who do you want to appeal to? And one of the exercises that I talk about in my book and in all of our marketing and all of our product creation is what we call the perfect customer, the ideal customer, or your avatar. And all you need to do is have a conversation. So for example, Carol, it turns out that you are my ideal customer. When I write my scripts and I write my marketing, I purposely communicate with women between X age and Y age, I'll say, because you're 29. I'm well aware that you're 29 years old, and but there's a specific target age range, and they are transformers, okay? They are in a state of reinventing themselves. They've reached a point in their lives when it's sort of like, I have a gift inside me. I have a voice. I need to find a way to discover that and communicate it and connect and impact more people. And generally speaking, a lot of my female clients have been doing what they've been doing for 10 to 40 years as professionals, and again, they feel underappreciated, underpaid, and they feel they've reached a point where they're getting paid for their time like someone else who knows less than them and are worse at it, okay? And they're not being paid for their knowledge. So does any of that resonate with you, for example, right?
Oh, absolutely.
So,
yeah.
So I could go on and on, but it's like, so what I do is I write my scripts, I write my copy, and I actually speak to the one. I will speak and write, for example, to you while I'm on camera. And for example, we're in the process right now preparing for a new product release. Just yesterday, I performed 2 of the videos in front of camera. And now you're one of my composites. In that case, I'm actually speaking to about 6 different people, but 4 out of the 6 are professional women. Okay, the other 2 are men, but they're typically 45 to 60, or in some cases we've got 35-year-olds too. But again, it's usually people in what I would say at a stage in their life where historically it's called a midlife crisis. But they've reached a point and they're like, you know what? There's certain stuff I'm not going to do anymore. Period. End of story. They've reached a point. They've drawn a line in the sand, and it's sort of like, I am going to reinvent myself, and I'm going to focus on fun and freedom and impact and making a difference and connecting in a totally authentic way. Okay? Bam. Okay? With the right kind of messaging, okay, you'll attract not only the one, but you'll attract someone just like them, and 10,000 more when you do it right. And again, it's all about building that platform. So again, long-handed way, but the people who fail at this, focus on the tiny minutia that's irrelevant, and secondly, they don't speak to the one. Okay, you got to know who your ideal customer is and enter into a conversation they're already having and present a better way. Present a solution, something that makes them feel good and connects with on an emotional level first. Because in the end, if you win their hearts, then you'll win their minds. Okay, but you got to start with the heart first.
Exactly. And I screwed up with this so badly with my first business.
We all do. We all do.
I'm like, who's your ideal customer? I don't know. Someone who uses incentives.
Everyone should be buying my stuff. Okay, when you're marketing to everyone, you're attracting no one. Okay, everyone's friend is no one's best friend. Think about high school or junior high. It's sort of like you knew whoever was trying to be nice to everyone was probably saying rotten stuff behind your back because it's inauthentic. Okay, it's just not possible. That's why That's why most politicians are repulsive, because you just know that they're liars. They can't possibly really care. They just don't. Okay, what they're there for another reason. Okay, and I know that'll probably start a whole bunch of conversations. I'm not a fan of politicians, or large bodies of government. I'll just say, but
it really is so important. Like, and I know we keep saying this, but it is critical to have a platform and to position yourself in a way that puts you ahead of anyone else who could possibly sell to your customer. Part of that is writing the book. Part of it is also getting on video. Like you have a product called Traffic Geyser, which is used to syndicate videos, but people need to see your personality. This is part of the reason why I'm doing the summit, so that people can see, yeah, she's a little bit quirky. And she likes to laugh a lot, and pretty soon I'm going to put my tiara on with that Google effect. But but it's all part of building your platform. Let people see what you're like. And there's really no other great way that I know of for the investment to do that than to become the expert.
All right. Well, I think one of the other questions that I get all the time is, all right, well, we often get the, well, I don't know how to write, or I don't have time to write. And once again, my question I would ask someone is, do you have time for someone to sit down and ask you 10 or 20 questions that you can answer? And I've never met one person who'd say, no, I can't do that, especially if the end goal is you'd have a book with your name on it that you can hand out, and it positions you. Everyone likes the idea of that. And so the good news is that there are very talented, skilled people available who don't charge a lot of money, who will gladly edit those transcripts into a book. You can get a book cover designed. Even if you just want to do something for free, when you upload your document, which is nothing more than a Word document or a PDF document, into Amazon, they'll even send you into a little area where they have a software that'll design your book cover for you. Okay, and or you can have a book cover designed for a couple $100 by using a service online. Like even Fiverr, there's designers and artists you can get for a few bucks that can do it for you. Someone on Craigslist. So there's, again, the investment of time is so minimal and little, and then beyond that, it's just a matter of learning some basic principles about video marketing, which is, again, with nothing more these days. With your mobile phone, an iPhone has high enough quality that you can shoot a high-definition video that's good enough to market you and educate and train and create training content. These things are as good as what used to be a $1,000 camera less than 8 years ago. And these days, they're very, very high quality. They're good enough for almost anything. So you literally don't have to buy any extra equipment any longer. Technology is not your enemy, nor is it anything to be afraid of. It's understanding that there's a logical, step-by-step process to making this work, and it can work for you. And I've learned now, after, again, having over, in this case, just shy of 30,000 customers over the past few years, and we know for a fact, when you look at our stats, that we've reached millions of people with our videos, that it's all about psychology. It's not about technology. These are skills that work in any country. We've got clients in over 60 countries who've used our system successfully. So there is no reason why you can't be doing it right now and make some massive progress, even in as little as a day. And again, we've with for $2,500 out of pocket, we took nothing more than a recording like what we're doing today, Q&A, had it transcribed, edited, a professional book cover made, published, and a bestseller in 17 days. So someone's saying, well, that's you, and that's what it's like, okay, let's just say we multiply it by 2.5. If in 60 days from now you had a book to differentiate yourself and some video content online, what would that do for your business and your vision and your legacy? And I think that's what you have to think about.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much.
You got it.
I look forward to seeing you again, and perhaps I'll be on your stage again for the next
I'd love it. I hope you'll come to the October 11th through 13th event in San Diego, because that's we're going to show some even cooler things that we've been working on that'll help expand your marketing platform as well. So I just encourage you. It'd be an honor to have you there again.
Well, thank you. Thanks very much, Mike. I give everyone a great big hug. Big hugs for you.
If you'd like Carol to help you with your reinvention, reach out to her by going to her website and completing the Contact Us form, or send her an email at carol@carolwayne.com. She's also available on Skype at IDI Carol, and on Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn, all Carol Wayne.